Trolley-lolly-lolly-lo, sing trolley-lolly-lo. My love is to the greenwood gone. Now after will I go. Sing trolley-lolly-lolly, trolley-lolly, trolley-lolly-lolly-lo. Sing trolley-lolly-lolly, trolley-lolly, trolley-lolly-lo.
Greetings. Welcome to the Bishop's Palace. You've caught me on a busy day. As you know, His Majesty is on his way here from Pipwell. You know, the old abbey site, now part of the Parr family estates. This visit north has been long delayed, but if I'm honest, I wish we had a bit more time to prepare for his arrival. The last time the king was here was nigh on 30 years ago, in 1511. Henry was a young man then, recently married. Back then, it was my father who welcomed him. Well, the Bishop Smith of Lincoln was my father's great-uncle, and my father was known as the richest man in Rutland. You can see his brass next door in the church. I wish he could see me now and how far I've come. Of course, I was a ward of my Lord Cromwell, but probably not best to mention that now. As it happens, I'm newly married myself. It's quite the match to Dorothy, daughter of my Lord Montague, Chief Justice of England. She's definitely her father's daughter, a fine, strong woman. Yes. I wonder what Henry's new wife is like too. The new queen is very young and has a lot to learn on this journey north. The next stop is the palace at Collyweston, His Majesty's grandmother, my Lady Margaret Beaufort's home. Now there's another strong Tudor woman. There must be a lot of memories for Henry on this journey.
Trolley-lolly-lolly-lo, sing trolley-lolly-lo.
As you'll see, we've got a great setup here for what the king needs on progress. The Privy Council will be here tomorrow, and my father-in-law will be amongst them, so I'd better make sure we impress. I can't afford to show him up in front of the king. He's asked me to make sure everything is ready and up to standard. One moment, friend. That's my father's old clerk, Dupup. He's a good man and a great legal brain, but not as quick on his feet as he once was. Dupup, not over there! There! As my Lord Bishop is in Lincoln, everything is down to me to make sure it's all ready, especially given the circumstances of this progress. Oh yes, I bet they're nervous up north. These past few years have seen a lot of changes, especially for those who cling to the old ways, but I know myself that many monasteries were struggling, and reform was needed. See, I'm a man who moves with the times. Besides, as is often mentioned in court, it is the overblown corruption of the church which the king wanted to reform. I'm sure my father would have agreed. He always looked to run things efficiently for the bishop. He had no time for waste.
My love is to the greenwood gone. Now after will I go. Sing trolley-lolly-lolly, trolley-lolly, trolley-lolly-lolly-lo.
Still, we're making sure their majesties are comfortable during their stay. I've made sure the lodgings here are ready, but I've heard the king has his own fine tent which he may prefer to sleep in. I'm expecting the gentlemen harbingers at any moment with news of which arrangement His Majesty would prefer. As you can imagine, accommodation is hard to come by locally. All the inns and lodging houses are full with those in the court who don't have local connections they can call upon.
Sing trolley, lolly, lolly, trolley, lolly, lolly, trolley, lolly, lolly.
We've made sure the common fields were ready for the encampment, but of course, the king has an army with him this time. Over 4,000 descending on Lyddington, I heard. Now that number will take some feeding. It reminds me of the loaves and fishes story in the Bible. We've got the fish ponds and orchards for the king's table, but the local markets will be cleaned out and everything is bought at the king's price. You'll have seen the stalls outside the palace gates. I imagine a few hard bargains will be struck today. Naturally, all the resources of my kitchen will also be at His Majesty's disposal. Dorothy has been inquiring about the Queen's favourite pastries. I told you she was formidable. I know that feeding the king is almost as important as making sure he has good hunting. And that's my other opportunity to impress. I've made sure the master of the buckhounds is well looked after, offered him a few of my greyhounds and access to my manor at Rockingham Castle, which is an excellent hunting ground. I hope he will put in a good word with the master of the king's horse, Sir Anthony Brown, for me.
Trolley, lolly, lolly, lo, sing trolley, lolly, lo. My love is to the greenwood gone. Now often will I go. Sing trolley, lolly, lolly, trolley, lolly, 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 lo.
I have a grand plan, you see. It was always my father's ambition not just to secure the manor at Rockingham, but also the castle, and to rebuild it as our family home. There's not much there now, just the lodge. Most of the old buildings are in a real state. If this visit is a success, then I would hope to persuade His Majesty to grant it to me. But I'm prepared to wait for the right moment. Getting it wrong could be disastrous. The king is quite unpredictable at times these days. Yes. The Watsons of Rockingham Castle. Anyway, did I tell you my new motto is, patience is a cure for every trouble? There are a lot of men like me, trying to find our place in the new world. Now the abbeys have gone and the cardinals are turfed out, and there are certainly fresh opportunities in the court now that my Lord Cromwell is no longer controlling everything. I'd start with the hall. It needs completely rebuilding and new chambers creating, fit for myself and my wife, and, God willing, plenty of healthy children. Perhaps we'll have one of those fashionable long galleries too. I see the riding chapel has arrived. The King's Master of Music, William Crane, is a fine fellow. No doubt they will want to practice in the church. They say music is one of the King's greatest pleasures and soothes his troubled spirits. I hope his journey from Pipwell has gone well. It's not far, of course, but it only takes a stumble on a track. Excuse me, I must get on. Do pup, not there! Here!
Trolley, lolly, lolly, lo, sing trolley, lolly, lo. My love is to the greenwood gone.